What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon jumping back in for Thursday's update for Rugby 25, second update of the weekend. Of course, timestamps in the description and in the timeline as well. A different type of update today, but an all-important. You might have already seen in the video thumbnail and stuff. I've given this an update 15.5, and you might be wondering what's going on there, and I want to sort of break it down a little bit more for you. So let's start out with the patch notes, and we'll go over what's going on with this game currently. So patch notes for this week coming over from J&T, back again on the FAQ page. Updated player ratings, updated Super Rugby and MLR player ratings to reflect recent form, which is quite fun. I like that because keeping the game a little bit more up to date. You can have ratings when the game first comes out, but actually teams change and develop over time. I like that they're going to keep on top of those ratings and updating them. So we might do Super Rugby versus MLR. I actually want to play as one of the MLR teams because I noticed a problem or a slight issue which I haven't raised on any of my feedback or sent over to the guys at Big End yet. So I'll show it off in a video and see if it's the same. Maybe they fixed it by now, and that way we can include that. But we'll do Super Rugby versus MLR today. That sounds fun. Updated player visuals. Perpignan and Clermont in the top 14 have had player photogrammetry added, which is nice. Always good to have more players added. The improved stability as well coming in there. But an important note for this one at the bottom: we have not changed gameplay in this update to allow the previous changes to settle and make sure they have been heading in the appropriate direction. Now, I think that's actually a really good move. If you remember last week, we had Thursday's update and they got quite a lot of negative feedback and said the game's taken a massive backward step on Thursday's update, especially when compared with last week's on Tuesday, which I had quite a lot of fun with. They've obviously not wanted to do the same this week because they've then did some changes for the Saturday hotfix. Came out on Tuesday, and Tuesday's game took quite an elevation in a lot of different directions. The AI defense was much better. The AI attack was outrageous. If you saw Tuesday's video, the AI beat me for maybe the first time since launch, and I had some of my own issues with what was going on in that game, but it was nice to see the AI scoring some good tries and playing some different ways. And rather than doing the double down update, big changes again, and see if it breaks everything again, they've decided to leave it for a week, and I think that's a good move because sometimes these double main updates every week can sort of clash with each other. I think this is a good move. Now, going into Tuesday's video, AI beat me healthily, got a really good score on it. And in that video, I read through the comment sections a bit, and I think a few people were getting a bit annoyed by how much I was complaining about the defensive element from a player standpoint. It's very hard when you're doing these videos. I'm playing it live right now for the first time. I know the video is edited by the time you guys are seeing it. Right now, I'm about to play the game for the first time. Then I'm doing the video at the same time, and I'm trying to work out what's going on. I have got 200 hours in this game, right? I understand a baseline feeling of how this game plays and works and what goes on. When changes are made, sometimes they're not very apparent on screen, but you know something feels wrong when you're playing through it. And it's very hard to analyze it as it's going on live, articulate and condense it down to immediately feed back into a video. So something was bothering me in the defense on Tuesday's video, and I was like, I feel like I'm conceding tries, but it doesn't feel fair, but I couldn't work out why. I've had some more time with the game now. I've played quite a few matches over Tuesday, Wednesday, in order to sort of get into this video today. They've not changed gameplay, which means it should be the same going into today as well, which is a positive thing because we can explain it a bit more. But basically, from a defensive player standpoint, there are some extra issues, which is why it was sort of catching me out. And for playing other games, I'll put it on screen now for some little clips I've taken here of this one. It was England versus New Zealand, and you can see here this is the AI playing as England. Even though I make every single tackle I possibly can, England are able to just throw the ball around, the endless offloads, breaking the tackles, and still make their way through. I also noticed there was issues with players not making tackles, even if I selected them. If they made the offload, it was like tackles didn't quite work. I've also noticed editing Tuesday's video and playing it since, there are other issues around the game not selecting the best defensive player and actually selecting someone wrong, and sometimes where you saw me in Tuesday's video where my players were running the wrong way. What it actually was is because I'm identifying who I'm expecting to swap to, and instead it swaps me to someone else. Therefore, I'm trying to run left to tackle this guy, but it swaps me to a guy on the left-hand side, and then he runs away from the play, and it caused more of an issue. I also found more issues around when the AI performs an offload. Sometimes players just tackle thin air as sort of like a knock-on consequence of the AI making an offload. Now, I've played on different difficulties. on the Xbox version as well. And that seems to be more of an isolated incident to playing on hardest difficulty, which is why the AI was getting through me so much. Playing on medium seems to be quite a fun challenge at the minute. So we're going to play on hardest again today because I want to sort of showcase them off a bit more if I can see it in the game. So let's choose some teams. MLR, because there's one team I want to play as to sort of showcase something else I found with one of these teams. Where is MLR? Have I gone straight past it? There it is. Which was... I think it was the Old Glory. And then let's go up against Moana Pacifica. Let's throw out a different Super Rugby team as well. So we're going to go back onto the hardest difficulty. We'll swap the old stadium. Let's go. I kind of feel like I do Principality a lot. I feel like I've got a bit of a natural. In fact, you know what? Let's do an actual MLR stadium because I feel like I don't really do a lot of the MLR stadiums. Seat Geek. Let's do that. Let's do the Seat Geek stadium. Not constantly, I know a lot about that as a stadium. So let's have a bit of a jump through. We'll get through all this. We're not going to, spend a great deal of time. Now, one thing I noticed, which is going to be hard to sort of showcase maybe if it doesn't work for me. Let's get ourselves kicked off with this team specifically in the MLR. I realized there's a very interesting issue that came up around the players' numbers, which I'm guessing is going to come from substitutions. Let me just chuck on a substitution very, very early. I've actually got a left lock is in my number 8 shirt there. Let's chuck on a substitute going in there. And let's see if that makes the change that I want to be seeing. So we'll go for a line out. Now, let me have a look if this has done the same thing. If not, I'll put a screenshot up on screen for you guys. So as you can see, here is my substitute coming in for my team. And the way these kits are, they have these blue squares with the numbers. Substitutes for this team don't have numbers on their shirt. That was just a very interesting sort of side note I found when I was messing about with the game. So like there's 20, but then like this guy has no number, which is really interesting. And it's this Gillian Daniel, gonna probably pronounce his wrong name, I'm awfully sorry. But basically it seems to be like players are getting selected from beyond the substitute bench and getting added into the team, and when it does that, they have no number on their shirt. Very, very weird. One thing I noticed about this team. But there you go. Let's dive in and carry on with the game as we lose a line out early on. So let's see if we can recreate some of these issues in this game. We'll see if we can go for a pushover. Now, I was playing this on the Xbox version last night as well, and had some really, really fun games. Like I said, medium is quite a fun difficulty. At the minute, it's still a bit of a walkover for games. You probably want to play hardest if you want the challenge of it. But just from an enjoyability standpoint and being able to test the AI defense a bit more, it felt really nice with the improvements. So I've really enjoyed what they've done with the AI defense, and it's felt much more realistic and much more sort of open in a way that you can run around, but also they will close you down and make those really solid last tackles. But we've got the... so let me have a quick look at if that was one of those there. So they performed an offload coming in here, and as you can see, my guy basically... This time I was actually able to implement adding a tackle in. As this ball gets offloaded, gets flown over the shoulder. You watch number 3 now. Makes a tackle, but doesn't. Just kind of tackles the air. And that is one of the issues that was coming a lot. From editing last week's video, I was noticing that was actually a very consistent issue. It seems like the offload happens, and even though you might think number 3 here is trying to tackle the guy with the ball, they're actually not. He's also trying to tackle number 10, but the tackle has already been completed. So he tackles air of actually trying to tackle this guy who's already been tackled, and therefore just falls on the floor. That is a consistent issue I've noticed, and again, it's kind of specifically on hardest difficulty that it is coming up, and that's where it felt like last week I was going, I feel like I'm being cheated, I feel like the AI's not earning the line breaks they're getting on me. That is what is going on. So you've got to be a little bit more hold off now on the defense. It's not worth, sprinting off the line and rushing up trying to get a turnover on the ball and get that early tackle because they're going to break through, they're going to do the handoffs. I still feel like the handoffs are something that are going to need to be whittled down because at the minute the AI is really exploiting them about as much as they can do. As there's another handoff and break there. Can we see if we can get a turnover in there? No, we don't manage it. Have noticed a couple of other issues as well. Had a few more of those problems with the ball getting thrown really long and just thrown into touch or thrown over the dead ball line, which is weird. Scrums not being awarded at the right time. I've had a couple of other issues with players standing around the ruck again. And therefore you try and pass the ball out and you throw it into a player's hand. Knock-ons. Knock-ons not actually being awarded, even though the whistle being blown. The game just sort of carries on and no scrum happening, which is also weird. I've also noticed the player targeting choice is really narrow in this update for some reason. If you want to do the target passing rather than wanting to go wide, they can end up being really, really bunched together, and it feels like you can't go very wide. So I think there's certainly some other things to be looked at from this one, but this is going to be one of those updates where I kind of like what they've done here, where they've done the Tuesday update is the big update, but then there's going to be they've allowed it some time to get the feedback from players on what needs changing, because I do like that is something I've noticed a few times as well. Offloads just being thrown wildly, like, you know, like 70 feet in the air. What's going on there? The offloads that the AI is doing more numerously, but does seem to have come with new issues that offloads can go very, very wrong. So, you know, I think it's worth having this extra portion of time to get the feedback from the players and for Big Ant to be able to work out what the issues are that people still want to see changes to. Because like I said, the defense from the AI has felt better. The attack line has felt better. You know, getting those nice passes, getting those offloads, and being able to make big breakaway tries. Feel like they were also with inside their 22 there when they made that kick. Were they not? They were inside their 22. They passed with inside their 22. They kicked it straight out. Yet the line-out happening from inside the 22. Maybe a couple more issues happening around those choice of line-outs as well for them. Let's try and make a bit of a break down this way, because you can still score some really nice tries in this game. It does warrant... Let me go for a little chip kick here. Try something a bit different. Oh, I tried something a bit different there. I've been messing around a little bit more with the chip kicks, and they're quite fun. If you get a pacey player on the end of it, and you get some lovely chip kicks, you do need to have a bit of pace, because the AI seems to turn very, very quickly to be able to recover them. But they do feel very solid once you once you get your hands on them. But I would like to showcase that I can score tries, and that the AI isn't just a domineering force of death in this current update. They can be beaten, even on hardest, because they absolutely nailed me in Tuesday's video. Let's go for one more offload. Again, a little bit of a weird pass going in there. Very, very slow. Again, bunch target passing. They're just all behind me, which is, you know, a little bit weird. I do like to see a bit of a wider play. Let's see if we go for one little chip kick over the top. Oh, they actually tackled me on that chip kick. Normally, they kind of leave you alone on the chip kick. It's the grubber kick they like to tackle you afterwards on. Let's get in there. Oh, there's another offload that's gone very, very loose, and no players picking up the ball. There's further issues that seem to be stemming from offloads that are causing more issues. I don't know why players aren't picking up the ball. Very interestingly, playing the Xbox version, very, very rarely are players not picking up the ball. Fullbacks are catching it all the time. You can kick over the top. They'll run back and recover it really easily. There was also the issue in Tuesday's video with the scrum, the 5-meter defensive scrum. I've had a few more scrums since by giving the AI having a few more choice scrums, or me choosing a scrum and then swapping back to the other team. And it does seem to be quite a consistent thing at the minute, that if you have a scrum, the AI typically tends to want to pick it up from the back of the scrum. They're almost sort of guaranteed at the minute to make 5 or 10 meters beyond the scrum. Which means if you have a 5-meter defensive scrum, you're kind of doomed. They will score a scrum, no matter what. Oh, that's a nice little offload again. Being marched back. We've got a point to prove here, guys. Come on, let's sort ourselves out. But basically, it does feel like 5-meter defensive scrums are actually undefendable at the minute, which is a shame. Again, they are marching through me here on a 5-meter press. Don't want to give away a knock on here. Can't get a turnover. Can't really choose to slow them down. There's another handoff. Just going to hold off on going in for that one and try and rotate. I'm assuming they're going to go this way. Nope, they've got a better choice there. Another handoff. Double tackle. Let's see if we get a steal on that one. Not to be. I'm going to go out left here. Nope, they've gone right again. Well, we're left to die. Luckily, second defender came in. Nice little turnover. Set our forwards up a bit differently and see if that makes any sort of difference for us. Let's try and target this outside man and cut back inside. There we go. That's a little bit nicer. One little offload. Thought he was going to bite in for the tackle there. We're not really going anywhere for now. Let's just kick that one out. But we've been able to defend. There seems to be requiring a bit more now of your defence, that you've really got to hold off from the way they're using the handoffs and such. But you can defend it a little bit better. Oh, that's interesting. Their prop is going to take this kickoff. That's interesting. I thought they'd really fixed a lot of those issues. So the goal kicker is Garden Batshop. So is it because he's injured? Is it because they've got an injured goal kicker? It's forced the change to be someone else. Not really sure why the prop there is doing their kickoffs for them. Really shouldn't be. That is the first maul I've had work. Interestingly, because I've let them. Oh, it might be broken because I was swapping teams about. Mauls I've had a 100% success or 100% fail rate, I guess you'd call it, by the ball not going anywhere or not really doing anything. There's my guy with no number in the scrum again. It seems to be players that basically are not even on the bench. They're sort of starting from. So here goes the scrum. They also do a sidestep. So you can see there he clearly made the ground around the outside of the scrum. It's about 5 meters just from the scrum half running it. And by the time he did the sidestep and got through there, he probably made that 5 meters. So scrumming is very hard to defend in this update at the minute. Let's see if we go for a bit of a quicker line here. Bang! Nope. The handoff doesn't care about my blitz defense anymore. As we're pushed back once again. There's another offload. Can we get in there, boys? Come on. Surely we've got numbers in there. Oh, another sidestep coming in. Rush him, flood the ruck. All my guys. Oh, we managed to get a turnover. We're holding on. Barely. Hopefully this doesn't hit the post. That's exactly what I didn't want it to do. Oh, but it's beautiful. Meta plays where you bounce the ball off the post and pick it up loosely afterwards. It's nice to see that post has become like a real physical entity now that you can hit. I quite enjoy that in rugby games. You know, oh, that's a good line by you. Nobody going to be able to get there. They'll get over for a try. Should we have a little bit of a look at that one as to what went wrong in that one? They did the sidestep, and then no one else came in. I would like to be able to replay who I was selecting on that one. Again, it's just the issue with the, a number 5 doing a full rotational spin. It's not something you're going to see in international, well, any sort of rugby really. Gets the spin, gets around that guy. Here, there's just a few things to still be worked on for me with the defensive line. I think, I can't remember, but I think I then became number 10. I've probably already selected number 4, got beaten. I've selected number 10, which is why number 10 is then run away. But you've got number 13. Clearly, is meant to be covering this backfield space. They get in, they get the spin around here on number 4 in the far right. You want to be seeing number 13, move up to here now. There's clearly going to be a gap in this defensive line. You want number 13 to fill back in here. Maybe even holding a bit of a depth, because there's always a chance that this guy now gets around number 4 and passes back inside and hits the gap, or he could try and get a little pop pass to this guy who could also run sort of diagonally through. You kind of want to hold 13 around here, but instead we just keep our eyes on 13 as he runs and runs back up into where the ruck was happening, and bang, he's already made it through. We're just seemingly not going to be able to get back for that. Even though, again, pace difference there. A number 5 versus a number 13. I'm expecting my 13 to be quicker. Really doesn't feel like my 13's got any sort of more pace. We also had this guy coming across from number 14. Maybe just sort of out of range. I actually was pressing Y to try and get the shoulder tackle to slow him down, but never even engaged in the tackle coming across. There's a few things going on defensively that are just hindering the enjoyment. And again, it seems to be much more isolated to hardest difficulty for some reason. Garden Batshop's still able to do is fly half kicking duties. They don't put the prop in to do kicking at post when injury. So not sure why the prop is doing the kickoffs at the minute. So that is a lovely close kick. Oh no! Have we had a crash? Oh, I thought we had a crash. I thought after all of the times I've said about stability, I thought, my God, have we finally had a crash? No, we've recovered. We recovered. It just needed a bit of a pause for a second here. But yeah, if no one catches those kicks, yeah, of course the AI can do some lovely close kicks. Oh, as they get a turnover there. Another good handoff by their scrum half. It might be another loss on the cards today. I actually don't know if I've... Oh, and again, they break through that line. I actually don't know if I have completely finished a game on hardest. I think I have, but it was a difference in rating in team because I wanted to see how the AI defense was holding up on hardest. But when playing games where you're a pretty even match, or even you've got wow, nobody. They're letting me run. We'll just run. We'll run with them at this point. Let's let them go. Very, very bunched again. We had the numbers further out wide, but didn't want to let me go. Let's just see if we can get another wider pass this time. Maybe that's a little bit better. Let's see if we can get out here. Go for a one-off pass here. Oh, they didn't make the tackle. We'll run to the corners. Hughes dives it over. I also had one on the Xbox, a try animation. I can't record if it's on the Xbox, but did have a try animation. Playing as France, scored a great try with BLBRA, and he ran up to the try line, and he did, like, if you've seen triple jump in the Olympics, he sort of did like a little hop, skip, and then like a really big dive, and he landed, scored the try, and the momentum was so much that he slid into the dead ball area, and the try was disallowed, and it said he went into the dead ball, and it gave a dropout. Not sure what's going on there. Clearly scored the try, but the animation was the depth of the entire try scoring zone, which was weird. So that might be an animation they need to look at. Very hard to. I don't know all of the different try scoring animations in a minute, but it was a very large sort of skip, jump, big dive underneath the posts, and yeah, that was a bit of an issue. But we've got one try back. Let's see if we can go on to win this with our MLR boys. We'll go out towards the right hand side this time. Offload there, not quite going to make it. Don't really want to give possession away because I feel like I'm really struggling to get possession back. Still a big ball of players. I have got 8 players here stood directly behind my ruck. It's not offering me a lot of versatility there. Let's swap to wide formation and see if it makes a lot of difference. They're slightly wider, but not to a fantastic degree. I am cheating, of course, by the way. Now I've started using my handoffs again now because I want to make the game a bit more open. I didn't use them at all on Tuesday because I do feel like it is cheating, but we'll use them here because we want to have a bit more of an exciting game because there's no other gameplay elements to talk about added in this week. So we want to have a little bit more of an exciting game. Let's try and get some tries in. Again, I've left myself a little bit isolated there. Not going to commit to this one. Just going to hold outside the line and try and get off the line quickly. Oh, that was a good call, though. They went out wide. Oh, there's a shoulder. He's broke through 2 tackles there. Doing very well. Regain them some distance, and they'll go for a box kick. Okay, that's a nicer piece of play. They just put themselves in a good position. Another great exit clear. Hardest difficulty kicking has got very, very good. They are really getting the maximum depth out of like clearance kicks and box kicks, which is nice to see. I'm enjoying that they've got those things. Right, let's go long. It's probably going to get stolen again. Hardest difficulty AI also steals lineouts all the time. They've really got your number nailed at lineouts. I'm not sure what the team ratings are. I think we're a slightly lower rated team. So the AI loves taking the ball off you. There's an offside. Now, that one actually is an offside. That was an actual offside penalty here. I don't know what I meant to do about it. My players are so slow getting back to their own feet. And he just threw the ball into me. That is absolutely offside, but I wasn't that guy. That's just my own AI are just being a bit lazy runners. Again here, yeah, maybe not an option to have gone for the 3. They are in their own half. They've made the correct call there by going for touch, probably. I don't think they would have had the range to have gone for the post there, so I think that's a good choice of the penalty. We'll go front, I guess. I don't know if we can... We can't actually steal one at the minute. They're going to just load up on this maul. 7-all. 2 minutes left in the game. Very interested to see what the AL want to do here as well, because the game is a draw. This is just a generic friendly game. It's not in a tournament. There's no points to be had. I would be wanting to see the AI play on from here. Just because it goes past 80 minutes. I don't really want to see them end this game. I want to see them push onwards. And try and go for that extra score. They should be trying to win. Whether it's a drop goal, whether it's, go for the penalty or something. They look like they're wanting to play on, which is nice. That's a nice offload as well. The offloads are just so numerous. Oh, I'm a little bit stuck here. Lost my defensive line a bit. Oh, we've had another... Oh, an actual crash! That's an actual crash. It's gone. Well, it felt like it was coming. I can finally say, After 16 updates of stability improvements, crashes have finally started occurring for me. Alrighty, so let's call it there. We'll call it a draw, I guess. It looked like the AI was actually going to play on, which was nice to see. I want to take a look at things. So the actual patch notes, thoughts, and feedback type. It's very hard because there's no sort of gameplay and it's changing. I just wanted to sort of give some overall thoughts on it. We'll check very quickly though. I just thought something interesting because they've of course said about they've changed the player ratings. So I thought a team I know of and would sort of be able to talk about would be. Like the New Zealand players, some of the New Zealand club teams. So having a quick look, like the Blues recently, they lost to the Brumbies, they lost to the Chiefs, the Crusaders. I think they beat the Hurricanes last week. I haven't caught a lot of the Super Rugby or anything, but it's a team I know that I've lost a couple games in a row, and I was like, I wonder how that will impact the player ratings in their team. But also, I wondered because I don't think I've ever checked if the player ratings are actually the same for an international team as they are for club level. In case there was maybe, a difference in that sort of range or something. But I just thought I'd look now, like Bowden Barrett. I saw some highlights of some stuff Bowden Barrett was doing on the weekend. And Bowden Barrett there at fly half, of course, for New Zealand is rated 93 there. And then if you go over to the Blues, he's also rated 93 there. So they're the same whether they're in club or if they're in the international team. You'd have to have really followed the ratings, I think, to know who was a change or who was a dip or performance in the actual game to be able to see what's changed. But the overall ratings, like, oh no, I don't mean to do that. I'm doing things this side. Changing the sort of scores around. Everyone seems to still be pretty much rated 80. Basically, across the whole Super Rugby, everyone's about 80, so they all seem pretty even. So whether they've just mean the team ratings, that's some of the changes going on. Thoughts and feedback more about the broader spectrum. And I think the update that came on Tuesday was overall a positive from the Thursday update. The AI is looking more aggressive. There's a few more offloads going in. They're certainly sparing the handoffs. They can score tries against you. They can do stuff. There is still those broader issues. The defensive things that I tried to point out at the start of the video, I actually felt like there was less in that game, even though they haven't changed anything. I felt like I certainly had less in that one. But there's certainly issues around players tackling air or the AI being able to just offload so often that you run out of stuff to be able to do to defend it. 5-meter scrums at the minute are feeling a little bit undefendable because the scrum half on the opposition side seems to pick up the ball and just sort of dart across. I also had a couple of tries where if you pick up the ball with the scrum half right on the edge of the try line, it's like an automatic dive. They automatically jump over and score a try. It's actually, you don't even need to push a button. I had that on the Xbox a couple of times. The offload thing going on, there's certainly some issues with the ball being thrown wildly, being thrown into the dead ball line. We had one today where it was thrown 70 meters into the air vertically for some reason when trying to do an offload or a pass. So there's some other things that have come in as an issue-wise with passing. The AI defense, I think, has had a really positive step. I've played a game now on every single difficulty over the last 2 days and can feel the progression of the AI defense as you go up in difficulty. Like, hardest is, you have to really fight to get around the outside and make those numbers up. Playing on medium though, like I can score some really fun tries. I'm making breaks to the line. The breaks feel nice to the line as well. You don't need to do a handoff. You can actually sort of pass and hit a really nice gap. On easiest, you're still scoring for fun. So I can feel the progression of the AI defense working very well. The AI attack being better is more fun. They're just going to have to work on how the defensive players work to be able to actually defend it, because at the minute there's still some exploits that I think that the AI is utilizing to make you tackle air and the handoff thing and the side steps and being around, and your players not quite being in position. Didn't have the issue too much today where you're swapping to a player but swapping to a completely different player than who you'd want in a position. On Tuesday's video I had much more. If you go back and watch, you can really, if you're sort of paying attention to what you think I would be doing, there's a couple of times I swap to a player who's right in front of the defender, and I'm clearly want to be this guy to stop this attacker, make the tackle, and instead of swapping to this guy, I swap to this guy over here, and they run straight through, and you go, why is the game not giving me this guy right in front of it? So there's a couple of things like that are going to need some tweaking. I think they've made the right move here on not doing another big gameplay change. Let it settle and get some feedback. I haven't gone over the FAQ pages entirely yet to see what the other guys have thought. I've only sort of gone through my own comment section to sort of get some thoughts and opinions from you guys. But I think the game is getting better. I think it's getting more fun. I like that it's feeling like a bit of a challenge. challenge now. Being able to sit down and play the Xbox version last night as well. I was actually having quite a bit of fun sort of messing around and playing a game. The AI being a bit more of a challenge is fun. Cards still seem to elude me. There seems to be very few penalties in my game anymore, yet I've got some mates that are playing on the PlayStation who say, you know, penalties are coming out the wazoo. They're scoring, you know, penalties all over the place. So I don't know what the difference is between different platforms, seeming to have a totally different feel to the way they're playing. But let me know down in the comment section, what do you guys think about this sort of strategy that they could do of doing a Tuesday update that affects gameplay, and then Thursday being a bit more about building the game out with like the teams and the player face and stuff, to allow us to have like a week maybe with each build, and maybe, you know, have more time for the feedback to get across them. I personally don't think it's a terrible thing. I'm not sure if I like doing as many of these videos where there's not as much to talk about in terms of like what's going on in the game, as opposed to there's new player faces or new team ratings. I typically have not made videos on these types of update days, but I thought this one very specifically very interesting because there were so many comments on the last video and so much stuff to go over with how the defensive plays were working. I thought it was worth making a sort of 15.5 video. Let me know down in the comment section, guys. I do enjoy having a read through of your guys' thoughts on it as well. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.